It's really a pleasure to be connecting with you, and congratulations on this film
Thank
showing
you.
within the Kevin Smith universe.
Yes.
When was it finished versus finding out that it was accepted into Kevin's festival?
Okay, so we finished the film the end of September. So we are not competing in Kevin's. They invited us to come in.
Mhm.
And I thought because we missed the submission date that we were out. But because Kevin's from my area in New Jersey and the big superstar, and I did another film, Rushed, that came
Yes.
out August 28th. So they knew that my film, I know his partner Ernie, his other partner Jeff, and they knew that the film had finished. And so they said, would you like to be a special screening on opening night? And I was like, jackpot, yes.
Now, Kevin, I'm a longtime fan of course, longtime fan of yours as well.
Thank you.
Hearing a podcast that Kevin did with John Lovitz, I had no idea what a diehard fan Kevin was of Saturday Night Live. Is that how your relationship with Kevin goes back, or is it the Jersey thing?
It's definitely the Jersey thing, but when Ernie, his partner Ernie O'Donnell, said, hey Siobhan, like your film is finished,
Mhm.
the submission time is over, so you can't be in competition because that would be kind of like cheating, and well, it wouldn't be kind of like cheating, it would be cheating. And so and so he said, Kevin, let me ask Kevin. And then he wrote to me and said, Kevin's a huge fan of SNL and Men in Black and all these movies, so he'd love you to do it. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's nice. Kevin's a fan of mine. I'm a huge fan of his. So it's mutual admiration society.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
And you still live in Jersey, but you're originally from upstate New York?
Yes, I am from outside of Syracuse, Casanova, which is where we filmed my film Shelter and Solitude, which will be showing at the festival. And this is the very first that anyone has seen this other than, the editor and like a tiny little test audience. So we filmed it in Syracuse,
Mhm.
in this crazy old defunct jail, and which is really crazy because my father was a lawyer and he'd always talk about, these clients that he had that were in jail. So I was a little bit obsessed about prisoners and things, which the movie's about a guy on death row, and my crazy country western wannabe character, which my father wanted me to be a country singer. And I was like, you have to be able to sing well. But anyway, so it's upstate Casanova, Syracuse, and Erieville, New York, where it's filmed.
The reason I mentioned Syracuse and that whole area is more and more movies are being filmed up there, whether or not people realize it. Like
That's
that
right.
production company, American High, is based in that high school out there.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm from the little town Casanova, and Jeremy Gerlich, who runs American High, I have not even met him yet, but he has a house in Casanova, and he wanted to rent my house in Casanova for I think for the nanny. But anyway, that's what I shouldn't tell all that. But also I was going to say to you, I Love My Dad with Patton Oswalt was filmed there, which won the South by Southwest Film Festival last year. So it's great to film up there, and the people are so accommodating, and they have a great tax break.
Yes. Well, another film that came out recently that was made up there, Joe Manganiello produced this film called Shoplifters of the World, which is about this Smiths diehard fan. And I think that they said it was Utah, but it was really Utica.
That's so interesting because I just filmed a film in Utah with Robert Machochian. Do you know him? He did The Killing of Two Lovers. Are you from Utah?
Well, no, I'm ironically wearing a shirt that says,
yes, I see that.
Utah. They gave it to me for this press trip I did, but no, Long Island.
Yeah. So this guy that I just worked with is unbelievable. He did The Killing of Two Lovers, which won the best auteur direct, film last year at Sundance. And so, but when I was out there, I was like, there's parts of this that do look a lot like upstate, especially the snow.
Yeah.
And the people are really, really friendly out in Utah, like upstate as well. So that's so funny that they did Utah as Utica as Utah. That's hysterical.
It happens. So we're seeing more and more of the films being made outside of traditional New York and Los Angeles locations. Now, your career with going back, Forrest Gump was not made in New York.
No.
Forrest Gump was South Carolina?
It was Savannah, Georgia. My part was not in Savannah. Mine was in Beaufort, South Carolina. Yeah, and they did Savannah as well. But I would say that because my husband has a lot of family there, and I always think of that first as that bench there where the old woman who lived in my building, oddly, in New York City. But no, so where I filmed was Beaufort, South Carolina. but I've been filming all over the place working. I was just in Vineland, New Jersey, doing this movie Zombie Wedding that I did a talk in Syracuse for young filmmakers about 4 years ago. And this young director, Mika Khan, was
Mhm.
at it. And he said to me, I'm going to work with you. And he was like younger than Springtime. So I was like, okay. So anyway, the producer of the movie wrote to me and said, this guy wants you to be in this Zombie Wedding movie. And Sherry O'Terry from Saturday Night Live was in as well. We're the two I'm the mother of the bride. She's the mother of the zombie. But anyway, so many, it just seems like I'm working less and less in LA and New York City and more in these really interesting places.
Yeah, that's a recurring thing I'm seeing in interviews where every now and then I'll speak to somebody and say, well, when's the last time you filmed in LA? And they would go, I've never filmed in LA before.
I know. I'm thinking, I can't, it was definitely before the pandemic, and it was not in the last 5 years, that's for sure.
And then a compliment to you. A lot of people, the Saturday Night Live credit would be the thing that they spend the rest of their life. It's the first thing in the parentheses, and they say former SNL thing. You've now been in so many blockbuster movies, and you're also making your own movies at this point. I'm curious when you kind of realized that SNL wasn't going to be the calling card for the rest of your career.
I think the second day I was there. No, honestly, let's face it. You know, what Chris Rock used to call me Judgy, because every time there was like a judge, Lauren would be like, who's the judge? Okay, Siobhan. So I was like, Judgy, Wudgy was a bear. And then I was, the Delta girls. But other than that, I didn't do too much. But I remember, anyway, so for years, casting directors would say, as when I come in, like in an audition room, and they'd say, now, Siobhan, are you free now from SNL? I was like, I've been free from it for a long time. So, but I mean, and believe you me, I'm so grateful for SNL. I mean, so many people complain and say, oh yeah, I didn't get used enough. I mean, it opened so many doors for me, and I'm so grateful. And Lauren used me in Baby Mama and offered me a great part in that. So, but it opened so many doors. And, luckily there was no Google in those days. So they couldn't be like, Siobhan Fallon Hogan, SNL. They'd be like, no, she hasn't been on it for like 5 years. So anyway, it opened so many doors, and it's just so fun to have been part of that great history. But yeah, so then there was a period where, you see, I think acting is just like dating, and I just kept having children, and so the directors would be like, okay, well, we want to use you, but you're pregnant. I was like, listen, you can use me because I'm not having the baby. They're like, we can't insure you. Like, trust me, my uncle lives nearby. He's gyno. Anyway, things like that. But I would just like talk my way in, because I didn't care. Because I was like, well, if I don't get this job, I can entertain my kids and make home movies. So I was really lucky that I was in a lot of blockbusters. It was kind of funny. Like, I remember I said one time I auditioned for this movie. I actually couldn't do it because I really was so pregnant. Mm-hmm. And it was with Russell Crowe. Oh, and it was about smoking, a really famous director.
Oh, Thank You for Smoking, that one?
No, it wasn't Thank You for Smoking. Can you believe I don't know? And the guy's really well known. Anyway, and I wrote to him and I said, I said in the audition, I said, listen, I hate to tell you, but I'm kind of a good luck charm. If you put me in your movie, it's going to be a blockbuster because I'm on a roll here. I don't know what's going on. But now, the role also comes to an end at some point. But my youngest daughter, I'm actually in New York City right now. And I said, my sister's visiting and I'm in New York. And I walked by the Regency. I said, that's where I auditioned for Men in Black for Barry Sonnenfeld. And Barry goes, Siobhan, you're here at the wrong time. I'm like, Barry, I have a babysitter. You know how much I pay for babysitters? I can't afford to pay for the babysitter this afternoon. And there's a snowstorm coming. And he's like, well, then just bring the baby back. So I was like, okay. So I went back across the park, got my baby. And I'm from Syracuse, so I didn't mind the snow. Like, it was crazy snow. And she's in the front, right, facing in. I'm like, hey, if the kid gets frostbite, she's got to toughen up. So anyway, I go into the audition and Barry's like, I go, what am I doing with this baby? And first of all, he wanted me to be the part of the woman giving birth to the alien. And I go, hey, by the way, I'm not auditioning for that part. He's like, why? And I go, I'm not comfortable giving birth to an alien. So I want to be like the farmer's wife, because that's where I'm from. Those are my people. So he's like, I go, but what am I going to do with this baby? And he's like, I'll hold her. So he held the baby. But anyway,
during your audition.
Yeah, they're in my audition. Best guy. Such a good guy.
Wow.
Oh, but anyway, so the blockbusters. So they've been here and there and all over the place. And so when my daughter, my youngest, my third child, was a junior in high school, I was like, Now listen, she's about to go off to college and I can't be stuck alone with my own thoughts. At this point, I was living in New Jersey and my dog's looking at me like, please don't walk me around the block one more time. Or my legs are going to fall off. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll write a movie. I've been in enough of them. Let's see if this works. So
Right.
that's when I wrote Rushed, which plug, people
Yeah.
can watch on Amazon.
Robert Patrick, a hell of an actor in that.
Oh yeah. So Robert, who's in Shelter and Solitude, in my first movie, Rush, which came out last August, is now on Amazon, Apple, all that, and got great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, 90%, pluggity plug. So Robert plays my husband in that. Jake Weary's my brother. My son, who's now in this movie, Peter Hogan, is a bad boy, frat boy. My daughter, Sinead, is like the coke head. She's like, Mom, you made me the coke head. I was like, yeah, I know, sorry. And so this movie, Shelter and Solitude, Robert is not my husband. He plays my brother, the warden of the prison. My son is like this kind of nerdy Southern policeman. He's got a great part. And my daughter's like this hippie, crazy hitchhiker. And she's like, Mom, what do you think of me with these parts? I'm like, listen, just shut up. Shut up and consider yourself lucky. So, and the director's the same, Vibeke Musaya from Denmark, because I had worked with Lars von Trier 3 times and met Vibeke. So she's same director, same cinematographer, Matthias Schubert, same editor, Sabina Miliani, and Dan Castellaneta, Homer Simpson. Yep. He's in it. It's because he and I did a play together 35 years ago in LA. So, you know, if you're nice to people, they'll come and work for you for $2.55 an hour.
Yeah, what you're saying sounds so similar to me too. I recently interviewed Tim Kazurinsky.
Oh yeah.
Who basically has, like you, the SNL in the parentheses, but that's far from the proudest thing that they've done.
Yeah.
And he writes these films where his really, really famous friends will work for nothing because
yes,
of him.
It's so great because I love him, by the way. I think that, you know, people, like when you get to my stage of the game too, you're kind of starved for a good time. I'm like, listen, the food's going to be fabulous. My husband is going to make sure of that we're going to have a great time. It's only 3 weeks, climb aboard. And then, you know, when they're in, they're looking at you like, what the hell was I thinking? I'm exhausted. But, you know, it's just a really good time. And not to pat myself on the back, but they like the writing, because a lot of the writing these days is just like, you know, I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't even know. My agent just sent me some script and it's filming in Malta. And I was like, okay, I'm going to Malta. I've never been there. I am in. I get to about page 3 of the script and I'm like, I am definitely not going to Malta. It is bad. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is the word rank comes to mind. My father used to go, man, turn that off. That's rank. That is so rank. But anyway, yeah.
They're going to have to do it without the good luck charm in Malta.
Well, exactly. No good luck charm.
No.
Can't have the fat old Irish girl.
The last question I have for you.
The lady with the 4 chins is staying home. I'm looking at my Zoom. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm going to keep next time I got to tilt this thing better. Wait, I need some tape too. Here. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Last thing I want to know, because you're wonderfully premiering this film through Kevin's festival of sorts that you're not competing in. It's a non-competitive festival for
That's
you.
right.
When is Shelter and Solitude coming to Amazon or places where everyday people
So the deal is with festivals. So when we did Rushed, we did not go the festival route because it was COVID. So we sent it around to people that we knew, you know, like a friend of who knows who, and we get it to a good agent and they send it out and it sells to Vertical Entertainment, thank God, and it sells to or distributes it and Octane, and they sell it to 15 different countries. Like you can't believe, like it's so like North Korea. I'm like, strikes me so funny that people in North Korea like
a Steven Seagal kind of film. It sells to the 15.
What is happening? Yeah, in like Poland, it's crazy, like 15 different countries. Okay.
Yeah. Shelter
and Solitude, we're doing the festival route. So Kevin's festival, Smodcastle, is our first. So then the hope is that we will have a distributor come and scoop it up and buy it. And then I'm thinking 2023 fall, hopefully. So, you know, because we've also we've submitted to South by Southwest and other festivals that we're, you know, Bentonville, praying to God that they'll accept us.
Well, were you on SNL when Gina Davis hosted it? Because that'll get it into that festival.
Okay, let me tell you something. I was not, but I will tell you this. Thelma and Louise, I was so influenced by. I went to it by myself at the Beverly Center in LA. And I can remember like going in my car, my Chevy Beretta, which I told my father had bumper to bumper warranty. And he's like, you're such an ass. I go, Dad, I gotta get this company to buy this car. It has bumper to bumper warranty. He goes, who told you that? I go, the guy at the place. He goes, you're just the type that's going to get totally screwed. But anyway, so I remember seeing Thelma and Louise and just going around that Beverly Center leaving. I'm like, this actress is fabulous. And this is the kind of work I want to do. And I modeled, when I talked to the cinematographer about how the template that I wanted it to look like and the style, it's Thelma and Louise. So, which is so weird anyway, but I was not on when Jean was on, but I love her. And of course, she was in the Olympics for archery. She
was, and I think she's the celebrity head of Bentonville. So
she is. So we're applying there. We submitted there, and I'm totally thinking outside the box. I've read all about. I'm like not going the traditional route. I'm literally harassing people at festivals and be like, my cover letter's like this. Hello. I'm 61 years old and I've been in this business for 1,000 years. And I've written my own 2 movies with women directing and women, and all my loyal best friends. And please take a look at this. Do not shove it in the drawer, because I am all in and giving this my blood, sweat, and tears. And I could be dead next year.
Well, whatever it is, I say congratulations on making this one happen.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing the whole thing and not just the rough cut.
Oh,
and whatever's to come from you in the near future. Thank you for the many years of laughs.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, because this is what independent filmmaking is all about. I need, people like yourself who are fun to interview with to get the word out. So Amazon is on Rushed and Apple, and Shelter and Solitude will hopefully be at blankety blank. We don't know.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. We'll get this posted within the next week. Have a wonderful holiday in the meantime.
Thanks a million. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Paltrocast.